Monster fighting games. Why are they so great? I mean, to me, it's honestly really simple. The first thing I dove into as a kid was Pokemon Crystal, a game where it takes you as a young kid and gives you your very own friend to fight amongst the terrors within the Johto region. Then as I got older, I started watching a little bit of Digimon, which honestly had a better theme song, better aesthetics. I think it was just a little bit away from overtopping Pokemon. Hey, come on, man. Where my VMon fans at?
Digimon. Digimon.
Digimon Armor Digivolve 2!
Digimon. Digital monsters. Digimon are the champions. Armor Digimon. Digimon. Digital monsters. Digimon are the Flamedramon, the fire of courage.
That's the cutest f***ing thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
And if you want to talk about currently looking at how successful Pal Worlds is and how that's been with the last few weeks, it's honestly incredible how great monster games are. And I could go on and on and on about games like Yokai Watch, which honestly looked very sweet, Temtem, Cassette Beast. All these games have so much potential, and I feel like gamers really eat this up. Recently, if you saw my last video and you saw that I played Dragon Quest Treasures, and even though it wasn't the best, it exceeded my expectations. So I gave the new Dragon Quest monsters, the Dark Prince, a chance. I remember when I saw this during the Nintendo Direct with my friends, and my eyes glistened. Even without knowing anything about the original two games, the bright settings they showed, the battle styles, and the fusing mechanics, I said, sign me up. It was the moment I realized I signed up for one of the best gaming experiences I had of my entire life. So without further ado, man, without all the chitter chatter, without all the rumbling, let's get into my review of Dragon Quest Monsters, the Dark Prince, one of the best monster funny games I played in a very, very long time. What's up, you guys? My name is Nicktana. Here on this channel, we love covering video games. I love doing reviews on this channel, first impressions, and talk about everything and all gaming from what I see through my eye view. If that's something that interests you, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. It's literally so easy to do. It's free, and it shows that you're really messing with what we're working with over here, man. We're such a small channel, and I don't really like to highlight that so much, man, but I feel like we have the potential to be something great, man. I want you guys to be a part of this. So without further ado, let's kick it off with the first topic of Dragon Quest Monsters that I want to talk about, and that's honestly what the game is actually about. Dragon Quest Monsters is about our main character, which after further research is a character from Dragon Quest IV, who is a half human but also is a half monster prince. You go off on a journey to confront your father, the Monster King, ruler of Nidaria. The biggest pain in the ass of a Dragon Quest game that I will probably not spoil, but this dude absolutely sucked. And since it's so much, like, I feel like it's an absolute spoiler, oh my god, man, just know this dude is the absolute worst, and I cringe every time I think about this dude. I might throw in at the end of the review a little bit of like spoiler gameplay just to show you all the emphasis of what I went through, but oh my god, my dad. Since your dad has a heart smaller than the Grinch during the month of December, he decides to put a curse on the one we know as the Manslayer, where he cannot hurt any monsters and gets exiled. You wake up in a small village called Rose Hill, where you're ambushed by the first monster that you encounter on your journey. With the retired monster wrangler next to you, he saves you from the ambush and introduces you to monster wrangling. And for you to become a monster wrangler, which is the key to being able to defeat monsters that fill the world of Terrestria. You find friends along the way to help you on your journey through the many areas where monsters reign, and to find a way back to get revenge on your father and to lift the curse he puts you upon. This game for me, just getting into the intro and seeing the cinematics and everything that goes on from you growing up and knowing that people just didn't like you and your mother going through sickness and you getting introduced to the world of monster wrangling. I mean, it did a very good job introducing you and laying out in front of you, this is what the game is about. This is what your objective is, and this is what you have to do. They did a very, very good job of doing that. And to kind of compare this to like a Pokemon game or any other game, I feel like Dragon Quest does it in a much darker way, right? I feel like it's not as simple as you go fight Pokemon trainers that have Rattatas and Caterpies. You're going off and you're fighting, you're getting punished by your absolute father in exiling and all that other stuff. It really is just a great way to kick off the game in general and what you're truly about to explore. Like I said, I didn't know what I was getting into with these games. I never played a Dragon Quest game besides Treasures, but I do want to get off, and it might be a little bit of a sidetrack. I want to say that, like, ever since I've played this Dragon Quest Monsters game, I've just been loving all the aesthetics and the monsters and everything that comes with it, with the art styles and the community. Dude, the community has been so supporting. I was streaming this game on Twitch, and literally so many people would come in and just talk to me about the game and what they love about it so much. And you could kick up a conversation talking about certain monsters that you caught and certain monster combinations, which I'll get into later, that you could have. And some people are very competitive, and some people will share a lot of information, and it's seriously, when I say, one of the better experiences I've ever had. And this is why I labeled this game an absolute masterpiece for me. But before I keep on rambling about how much I really love this game, I want to get into one of the better topics and one of my favorite topics in the game. I want to get kicking off and telling you about the monsters that roam in this world. Monsters are legitimately the #1 greatest thing that makes a Dragon Quest monster game amazing. I mean, obviously that makes a little too much sense, but you get the point. Unlike talking about in my last review about Treasures that utilizes the amount of monsters that Dragon Quest games have and the amount of creativity you can get, the game has well over 500 different monsters jammed into it. As soon as I got my first monster, I was generally just super excited about what I'm going to find in the world. And also, shout out for the quiz you take to figure out what monster fits you best. I got my Splatty Punk, and I named him after this handsome fella. Come here, Big Lou! Ha ha ha! Big Lou! Ha, Big Lou! Ah, Big Lou! Big Lou! When you discover a new area, you're more than welcome to go ahead and start building your team to be as elite as the Golden State Warriors, but you're gonna have to scout them. Scouting happens when it takes all 4 of your monsters' attack and wisdom stat to see if the wild mon wants to join. If you find it hard to get members, you're gonna want to clear each area and beat the big hitter to make it easier to scout. Once you start collecting new monsters, Dragon Quest Monsters presents a new way to make this spark from the other 2 installments of the game. That is synthesis. I want you guys to buckle up for this, because synthesis could be a big part of it. And if you plan on playing this game, you're going to want to like take this little bit of a guide to understand what you're going to have to do to get highly ranked monsters. Make sure you do synthesis right, all the above. I'm going to put y'all on, bro, because I struggled with this one. You guys are going to want to hear how to synthesis. Synthesis is a feature in the game that lets you get rare, high rank, and competitive better monsters. It's when you take 2 monsters, sync them together, and boom, you get a new or existing monster. While mixing them, you can bring 3 talents down from each monster to really complex how you want to build your team, which different movesets, stat boosters. The choice is honestly yours. I spent so much time in this game doing this feature because I spent so much time in the game due to this feature being installed. So getting into synthesis real quick, a little bit of a class. This was really unprepared for the essay, but I'm honestly just going to throw it in here. So when you synthesis, a lot of times there are 500 monsters. So not all the time 2 monsters will make a new monster made off of synthesis. A lot of times you'll find certain monsters in the area, but other times you're going to have to figure out what combinations really make high ranked monsters. And that is when you're going to use this site. I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to remember to put it right here. You guys are going to want to check that out because this is the best way to figure out what monsters you're actually going to need. So make sure you don't make the same mistake I did, and make sure you get high A rank monsters, and make sure you follow the right directions on that. Synthesize monsters that have an attack boost and the other one have an attack boost. You could fuse them together to get higher attack booster levels. So if you look here, this one's attack boost 1. Look here, this one's attack boost 1. You fuse them together, you get attack boost 2, which obviously makes your attack even larger than it already is, maximizing the potential of having a monster with really high attack, really high wisdom, really high defense, HP, MP, whatever you want to do. I did say this just now, but I do want to mention that each monster is divided into ranks, which do matter a lot. So eventually throughout the game, you're gonna do everything you can to make sure you get higher ranked monsters for the best possible outcome of overcoming the game. This is what my team looked like at the very end. I built a team off straight goons. I handcrafted this team. All right, man. We won plenty of championships, I will say that. But yeah, this is if you want to base your team off of something, you would definitely do that. I don't know how many RPG games have this feature in their game, but it was something that was an absolute game changer for me. It was the auto battle and the speed change within the battle sequences. It was so clever to add in because it makes it so much easier to grind out levels, scout, and progress through the maps of the game. I always left this feature off though when I was fighting main bosses because that's when it requires a decent amount of thinking. But for just grinding out monsters that are running through the area and like leveling up and cranking up levels, it's great to use for that. The game uses instructions that you could personally adjust on what moves you want each monster to prioritize and what moves you don't want them to use. You could also use the tactics where you could auto adjust how each monster fights by going all out and using the hardest hitting attacks, by really lowering stats of enemies and using stuns and debuffs, or using a tactic to have a monster focus on buffing you and healing whenever you need a medic. Medics are 100% so essential in this game. Battling was done easy, fast, with you being in control of how you want your monsters to fight, without having to click every single move and enemy. In this game, you could also test out a few of your monsters by going to the Coliseum battles, which I thought was very cool installation. It really puts that 4-on-4 battle in perspective, and it really lets you feel like how it would be to actually battle like a team of 4 versus your 4, and actually with team compositions and other team compositions. I didn't get to actually play the game online. I really wish I would have, but I feel like it's really comp. It's probably really difficult to get into, especially if you don't have the highest ranked monsters possible. But I could also see how it could be very cool because each Coliseum battle is sorted by like category, which you got rank F, G, E, D, etc. So like if you could separate those in that category, you could only use D ranked monsters, you can only use E ranked monsters, and have kind of like a scale for that. I think it would be very cool and very creative to see what teams actually come up competitively in these like Dragon Quest monster fights or online competitiveness. I've never been a part of one, but if anybody wants to add on to that in the comments that I don't know about, please do. And if I do get any information wrong in this review, please just make sure you put it down below. I want to make sure that I give everybody the correct knowledge and the correct wording for this review. And obviously, because I'm so passionate about this game, I want everybody to know 100% of what they are getting into. I've been kind of going off on a tangent about Dragon Quest monsters and everything that's so great with it, due to the monsters, the battling, and everything else. I clearly forgot about the 6 different areas with their own crazy and very different themes, from the Circle of Indulgence and its candy sweet theme, or one of my personal favorites, honestly, Circle of Fortitude, with more emphasis on castles and more of an industrial feel. Each area has 3 echelons, where in each echelon the monsters get more rare and the difficulty of the enemies are harder. For example, the lower echelon has really basic, really low ranked monsters, but if you get up in the upper echelon, you'll start seeing B ranked monsters, A ranked monsters, harder monsters that have higher levels to help you gain experience, and more rare items. The way it typically goes for a lot of these areas is each area is to make it through the level, go through a dungeon, then face a difficult boss fight. One of the biggest amounts of emphasis they put in this game was the way the seasons will change the amount of where you can explore and how you can explore. In the wintertime, you can walk on water, climb up vines in the springtime, and so much more. It would also be used to bring a different variety of monsters into the game with the different weather conditions. So there's a lot of times where I would go into like the candy world and then I would see like candy themed monsters. But obviously if it was nighttime, there's a spooky little vibe. You'll see like spooky candy themed monsters or spooky monsters that have taken over that area. Obviously, if the weather is winter in the Candy of Indulgence, you will also go through and you will you'll see like a lot of snowflakes. You'll see a lot of like winter themed monsters that will actually rain through there as well. The emphasis on seasons I thought was pretty cool. I will say it is kind of annoying unless you get this thing called I think it's called the season flute, which you could definitely, you could just use the flute to change whatever season you need it to. Because there are times it's like, oh, I see something off in the distance over there, but I can't get it due to it not being springtime. Oh, I'd like to go across the water to go ahead and explore this little area, but I can't due to it not being wintertime. But in general, I like that they use that to make you kind of utilize when you can explore certain things. To sum everything up, I'm just seriously blown away typing this essay for the past few days. I mean, what an amazing game, an amazing story, amazing concept, and just done very well to a T. I won't sit here and compare or make it seem like the game is a Pokemon clone or all out better than Pokemon, because one, that is something to talk about for another day, and two, I believe both have something great in each of their own respectable titles. It isn't worth bringing up. I can go on and play this for a very long time, and honestly, I plan on doing that in my free time. If you guys have watched this channel before, obviously I talk about my son, bring up my son all the time, and gaming involves him a lot when it comes to like how much I enjoy a game, because if he truly enjoys it and he loves to do it, then it honestly makes it feel better for me, because I know that he's enjoying something and it's bringing a moment into my life. I introduced this to my son, and he will not stop talking about Dragon Quest Monsters. He loves it. He loves that it's just so simple. He loves walking around and exploring. It's easy for him to just move around. And it's also so simple for him because the auto battle feature on. He doesn't know the really like typical things, or like, oh, you need to heal. Oh, you need to do this. You need to do etc. But I mean, that's why I'm over top of him and I can be able to do that stuff. But at the end of the day, he had so much fun just finding different monsters and creating moments with him and memories of like him even looking at certain monsters like, oh, this is, we named like some of our monsters. He's like, oh, that's Ace, or that's Louis, or all that stuff, man. And it's something I'll never forget. And it's something that I truly hold to my heart for a very long time. And I'm glad I got to experience that with this game. I already plan on wanting to play the other two Dragon Quest games, so I'm definitely going to be on the lookout to see if I can get those soon. I also plan on doing Dragon Quest 8, which I saw was really good, and I do have Dragon Quest 11, but I kind of want it for the Switch. I do have it for the PS4. I like the way the Switch version looks a little bit better, and I want to play that on the go. So in the near future, I will be playing more Dragon Quest games. So if that interests you and that intrigues you, make sure you guys check out the channel. But with that being said, thank you guys for listening to my Dragon Quest Monsters review and why it is a masterpiece in my eyes. I want to give a big shout out to everybody who listened or peeped in or watched or gave me a little bit of their time. Honestly means the world. I got some other things that I'm working on. I know I'm working on a Sonic Unleashed review because that is the game I'm playing right now. If you guys don't know, during the year of 2024, we are doing a 50 games challenge, which we are going to be beating 50 games within the year of 2024. So make sure if you guys want to see what games that I beat in 2024, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. If you guys want to watch more content of me or more reviews on me to see what I'm playing or what I've been interested in, here's another game that I thought was pretty much perfect. I'm gonna do Sea of Stars. I love this review so much, so I just love to push it out, man. I love you. Mwah. Got my physical of Sea of Stars. I did order, man. Shout out to them, doing great things. And then also over here, a video that's picking up a lot of traction right now, the last case of Benedict Fox. It just hit 2K views on the channel, man. So shout out to y'all for that, bro. Make sure you guys check that out and see what the last case of Benedict Fox has in store for you. Other than that, be safe. Tell someone you love them. Nicktana's out. Time to play Sonic Unleashed. That stupid, oh my god, I don't even want to play that game. Oh.